Hello and welcome to the Sound Nook. My name is Magdalena and since 4 months I'm building a tiny little miniature music store. After completing the store itself, I've been building plenty of tiny little music instruments. If you've missed any of those episodes, they are all linked down in the description. In this episode, I am building a cozy corner where customers can sit down, chat, and of course, since we have a store, a cashier's desk can't be missing. But mine is doubling a little bit as a bar, since we have a very social little store. Last episode, I promised I'd be building violins, and I did so. I also built some cellos and even a double bass. Let's start with building the sofa. I have laser cut these 3 pieces and spray painted them silver. This will be the construction of the sofa. Apart from these, I have this cardboard piece with the holes, and this is the fabric I will use. It is kind of rubber coated, and as you can see, it's a little bit stretchy, and I think it will have quite good leather properties. Then I also have a little cushion. Yes, I chose the ugliest color because no one will see it. After gluing it down onto the cardboard piece, I am sewing my fabric, or I'm gonna say leather, onto it. Each of the holes in the cardboard piece will be 1 sewing stitch into the leather, which should look like little buttons which will pull down the leather, and it should look very realistic then. After finishing all the sewing, I tied a little knot, and now it's time to glue the leather around the edges. This is what the finished cushion looks like, and with a little bit of magic we make 4 out of 2. These 4 pieces are then assembled into the sofa, and I'm gluing on the feet, the last one still missing. And of course with this sofa there need to go a sofa table, so I had this amazing idea of building like a giant guitar pick as a table. Can you imagine? So I thought this would be wonderful for a guitar store, and only when I had built it I realized that I actually built a life-sized normal guitar pick, and I felt a little embarrassed when I realized. So I engraved, I had a little visitor on my table. He crash landed, so I thought he might want to buy a electric guitar. He seemed a bit interested, but then he left again. Okay, so after freeing the little visitor, I continued scratching off the acrylic paint which I painted over the laser engraved store logo, and I think it turned out pretty well. If you're enjoying this video, please leave a like and a subscribe, or ask me anything in the comments. I've been asked where I get my templates from, and I make them myself, so I decided for this little bar stool you can see how I'm making the sketch, and I will show you my process in detail. So first comes the sketch, then I'm doing a computer drawing of the pieces I think I will need. It doesn't always work in the first try, but when I'm lucky, and I was with the bar stool, it does. Then I take my SVG file into the software of my laser cutter and upload an image of my materials on the workspace, where I can then place my SVGs into the correct places and also assign cutting paths to them, since every material needs different settings. Then this is me running to my laser cutter, which is now working. This is a little sped up. It's not really that fast, but it's decently fast. And when it's finished, I can open it and take out my freshly cut pieces, which every time is magic to me because I love my laser cutter very much. Usually the pieces come out easier, but in this case the cardboard was quite thick and the legs for the stool so thin that I had to carefully remove them like this. If you now notice some sort of black dust on my fingers, this is from the laser cutting process. The laser cutter burns away the material and leaves this coal-like dust. Then I got really into the flow of making these little bar stools, and I forgot to film the full process. I also forgot filming the entire process of making the cashier's desk, but here it is, and I hope you like it just as much as I do. On top of the counter, I really wanted to have a little chewing gum machine, so I cut this glass bottle and I filled it with tiny sprinkles because I like the thought of having real candy inside of it. I think it turned out really cute. Here you can see a shelf that I built on the counter for magazines. I can imagine how customers can sit there on the stools and read the magazines, or maybe even have a chat with the employees of the store. I was also thinking that maybe in the next episode I will be building a coffee machine or a fridge for cooled drinks, maybe even both. Let's see. But this is how the shelf with the magazines looks like, and I really love the look of it. Let's build the violins. Basically the same process as for the bar stools, just a little more complicated. Here I am building the double bass. Of course this would be way too big for a violin in my scale. My scale is 1:30 by the way, which means that a person is about the size of your thumb. Here you can see how I am building the body of the bass. I am layering plenty of little cutouts and the exact shape of course. And now I'm gluing the back of the bass onto it. You can see how the painting I did earlier really gives it more shape. Because I was aware that these violins and similar instruments are usually very curved, and I couldn't figure out a way on how to do this curved optics. So in the end I decided to just paint them, and I think they turned out pretty well. As usually for strings, I am gluing on my own hair, which I previously painted silver with some permanent marker. I figured out when building the acoustic guitars, and it has followed me around ever since. Then I lacquered the black parts with some nail polish, and you just saw the finished piece. This is now one of the violins. It is the exact same process, just way smaller. I didn't film the process of making all the tiny violins. So here is the finished double bass. I'm giving you some more time to admire it now. I think it turned out really gorgeous. I built a wooden stand for it because I realized they usually come on wooden stands. These are the two tiny cellos. They turned out to be my favorites because I think they have just the right ratio between size and detail. And also those got little stands. And here come the teeny tiny violins. Aren't they just so adorable? For the violins I made a shelf where they're hanging. And usually this is not my style. Usually I really hang everything the way it could be hung in reality. But after trying for a really long time I couldn't figure out the proper way, so I decided to just glue them on their rails. I'm sorry for that. Then I really wanted to build a little sign for the Sound Nook above the counter. Originally I wanted to have this glowing neon sign, but I really didn't know how to make it. So if any of you have an idea how I can make a neon sign this tiny, please let me know. So I decided to make it out of wood with light wood behind and dark wood in the front, and I think it turned out pretty well. With so much time that had passed since my last video, I decided that I have to come to an end. So let's enjoy how everything comes together. I must admit that I was starting to become doubtful about this project, but at some point when I started to put it all together, you can see the tiny piggy bank I made for the tips. At some point I really loved it, and these are tiny guitars you can put on your keys, because what is a miniature without a miniature? Here you go. So I really started loving how it all comes together, and I'm really motivated for this project now again. And this was the point when I realized that there's something important missing, because somehow this top level is floating too much. So I decided to build two columns like this one. The template, or making the template, was actually really difficult for this one because I really had to wrap my head around the column. Yeah, so I wanted to have this hexagonal bottom, and I also wanted to have this really nice decorated tops, and that really challenged me, but I really liked the result. And as it comes together, I think this light blue paper, which I only chose because of its thickness, because I thought it's nice to build with and it will be painted over anyway, and I think the light blue paper on the white base also looks really nice. So this is now the comparison, painted and not painted. What do you like better? With the columns completed, let's continue filling the space. Here they are now, and they will go there to the left and just in front of the cozy corner. What do you think? I think they really rounded up the space. Here's our shelf with the violins. I have decided for it to go into this corner of the shop. Next to it you can see a little shelf where I am hanging the bows. Also tested it. Sadly, there is no wonderful sound coming out of this cello. This is a guitar rack for electric guitars that I made in a previous episode. And you've seen we have plenty of guitars, but for this time I am only placing one symbolic guitar, as well as on the other stand. The Sound Nook sign should go somewhere around there, but we are not hanging it today, so let's just close the store and have a look how it looks like. The double bass should go in one of those little shop windows in front. This is how the store looks for the moment. And I hope you enjoyed this episode. There is not much more to complete the Sound Nook. I'm thinking about maximum 3 episodes, but let's see what I'm going to come up with. So stay tuned and don't forget to hit the bell so you won't miss any next episode. Thank you so much for watching and see you next time.